In the remote village of Raven's Hollow, nestled deep within the ominous shadows of an ancient forest, a sinister secret lurked beneath the facade of tranquility. Unbeknownst to the unsuspecting villagers, a small, dilapidated house stood abandoned at the edge of town, its time-worn exterior concealing the nefarious activities within. The villagers went about their daily lives, oblivious to the malevolent presence residing in their midst. No one suspected the existence of the bloodthirsty vampires that had taken refuge in the forgotten corners of Raven's Hollow. These creatures of the night had seamlessly integrated into the community, adopting the guise of ordinary townsfolk to mask their insatiable thirst for blood. As the moon cast an eerie glow over the village, the vampires would emerge from their concealed abode, prowling the streets in search of their next victim. With stealth and supernatural speed, they selected their prey, leaving no trace of their malevolent intent until it was too late. The unsuspecting villagers attributed the mysterious disappearances to the unforgiving wilderness that surrounded their quaint hamlet. The leader of the vampire coven, a centuries-old creature named Lord Malachi, reveled in the power he held over Raven's Hollow. With his piercing crimson eyes and aristocratic charm, he manipulated the villagers into believing he was a benevolent benefactor, offering protection in exchange for their trust. Little did they know that their supposed savior was the orchestrator of their impending doom. As the village fell deeper into the clutches of darkness, a curious young woman named Elara began to sense a malevolent force at play. Her keen intuition and inquisitive nature led her to the abandoned house at the outskirts of Raven's Hollow. The once quiet and foreboding structure now pulsated with an unholy energy that sent shivers down Elara's spine. Intrigued yet cautious, Elara delved into the secrets hidden within the decaying walls. As she ventured deeper into the heart of darkness, she uncovered cryptic symbols etched into the stone floors and walls, revealing the true nature of the house's inhabitants. The realization struck her like a bolt of lightning. Vampires had infiltrated Raven's Hollow, preying on the very community that sheltered them. Determined to expose the malevolent truth, Elara sought the guidance of an enigmatic old sage rumored to possess knowledge of ancient rituals and arcane arts. The sage, known as Lysander, listened intently as Elara recounted her harrowing discovery. With a grave expression, Lysander revealed the only way to vanquish the vampires, a ritualistic ceremony that required courage, cunning, and an alliance with the forces of light. As Elara and Lysander hatched a plan to rid Raven's Hollow of its unholy inhabitants, the vampires sensed the disturbance in their sanctuary. Lord Malachi, perceptive and cunning, realized that their secret could no longer be concealed. The eerie calm that had settled over the village shattered, replaced by a palpable tension that mirrored the impending clash between darkness and light. The villagers, oblivious to the impending peril, continued their lives in blissful ignorance. However, the atmosphere in Raven's Hollow grew increasingly ominous, with shadows lengthening and whispers of malevolence circulating through the air. Unbeknownst to them, a battle of epic proportions loomed on the horizon, one that would determine the fate of their once idyllic village. As Elara and Lysander prepared to confront the vampires, a sense of urgency enveloped Raven's Hollow. Unholy creatures prowled the night, their eyes gleaming with a hunger that could not be sated. The stage was set for a confrontation that would test the limits of courage and resilience. A battle that would decide whether Raven's Hollow would succumb to the eternal night or emerge into the light of a new dawn. The night of reckoning arrived, shrouded in an ominous stillness that hung over Raven's Hollow. Elara and Lysander, armed with ancient knowledge and determination, stealthily made their way towards the abandoned house. The air crackled with a malevolent energy as they approached, the very essence of darkness seemingly resisting their intrusion. Unknown to Elara and Lysander, Lord Malachi and his vampire cohorts were aware of their impending threat. The vampires, though creatures of the night, possessed an acute sensitivity to the forces that opposed them. As the duo crossed the threshold of the abandoned house, the vampires, with eyes of flame, prepared to defend their unholy haven. Within the shadowed confines of the house, Alara and Lysander uncovered the gruesome truth that ancient symbols etched on the walls were the key to the vampires' vulnerability. But deciphering them required a depth of arcane knowledge that Lysander alone possessed. As they delved deeper into their cult, time seemed to warp, and the air thickened with an otherworldly tension. Meanwhile, the village of Raven's Hollow descended into chaos. Unseen by the human eye, the vampires moved among the villagers, sowing discord and panic. Rumors of a malevolent force spread like wildfire, and a sense of impending doom gripped the hearts of the unsuspecting townsfolk. Little did they know that the battle between light and darkness was unfolding on the outskirts of their seemingly peaceful home. As Alara and Lysander meticulously deciphered the ancient symbols, Lord Malachi's preternatural senses alerted him to the impending threat. With a cunning born of centuries of survival, he marshaled his vampire minions, preparing to confront the intruders who dared challenge their dominion. The abandoned house quivered with the resonance of supernatural forces colliding. Alara and Lysander, focused on the ritual at hand, were unaware of the approaching danger. As the final incantation reverberated through the air, the ancient symbols glowed with an ethereal light, casting a luminous barrier against the encroaching darkness. Just as victory seemed within their grasp, the vampires, led by the imposing figure of Lord Malachi, descended upon the duo. A fierce battle ensued, a symphony of clashing forces. The vampires, with their speed and fangs bared, against Alara and Lysander, armed with ancient knowledge and an unwavering determination to save their village. In the heart of the conflict, as Alara faced the feral eyes of Lord Malachi, a revelation struck her that ancient symbols held not only the key to the vampires' vulnerability, but also their salvation. In a desperate gambit, she chanted the incantation with newfound understanding, weaving a counterforce against the vampires' dark magic. The balance teetered on the brink as the supernatural clash reached its zenith. The air crackled with energy, and Raven's Hollow stood at the precipice of either eternal night or the dawn of a new era. The villagers, caught in the throes of fear and uncertainty, glimpsed the edges of the mystical battle that raged beyond their comprehension. As the last echoes of the incantation resounded, a blinding burst of light erupted from the ancient symbols. The vampires recoiled, their unholy strength waning in the face of the newfound power. Lord Malachi, once an embodiment of invincibility, faltered as the luminous barrier enveloped him. In the wake of the supernatural clash, a hushed stillness settled over Raven's Hollow. The abandoned house, no longer a sanctuary for darkness, stood silent and forsaken. The villagers, unaware of the epic battle that had transpired, felt an inexplicable calm wash over them. Yet, as the dust of the conflict settled, a haunting question lingered in the air. Had Raven's Hollow truly been freed from the shadows? Or did remnants of the supernatural struggle continue to echo within the village's depths, waiting for an opportune moment to rekindle the malevolent flames that had once threatened to engulf them all? Months passed in the quiet aftermath of the supernatural clash that had unfolded in Raven's Hollow. The villagers, blissfully ignorant of the epic battle that had taken place on the outskirts of their once tranquil village, gradually resumed their daily lives. The abandoned house, now void of its malevolent occupants, stood as a solemn reminder of the darkness that had threatened to consume them all. Alara and Lysander, having successfully banished the vampires, continued to keep a watchful eye over Raven's Hollow. The scars of their harrowing encounter lingered, etched into the fabric of the village's collective memory. Yet, a fragile peace seemed to have settled upon the once turbulent hamlet, however. As the seasons changed, an unsettling undercurrent of mystery persisted. Whispers of the supernatural clash circulated among the villagers, manifesting as eerie tales shared in hushed tones around flickering hearth fires. The more skeptical dismissed these stories as mere superstitions, attributing them to the collective imagination of a community still haunted by the specter of fear. One night, as the moon hung low in the black sky, Elara found herself drawn once again to the abandoned house. Despite the victory over the vampires, an unshakable feeling of unease gnawed at her senses. The house, now a solemn relic of the battle fought within its decaying walls, exuded an unsettling energy that begged further exploration. Alara's intuition led her to a concealed chamber deep within the abandoned house. As she cautiously entered, the air grew heavy with an ancient presence. In the dim light, she discovered a hidden compartment containing a tattered journal. The pages were filled with cryptic entries, chronicling the rise and fall of vampire covens in ages past. To her astonishment, Alara uncovered a prophecy within the journal, a foretelling of a cyclical struggle between light and darkness that would perpetually plague Raven's Hollow. The victory over the vampires, it seemed, was but a temporary reprieve. The ominous verses spoke of a resurgence that would threaten to plunge the village back into the abyss from which it had just escaped. Dread crept into Alara's heart as the weight of the revelation settled upon her. The village, it appeared, was caught in the grip of an eternal curse, and the true battle had merely been postponed, not vanquished. The prophecy hinted at a hidden lineage, a bloodline linked to the ancient struggle. And Alara realized that the key to Raven's Hollow's fate lay in uncovering the mysteries of the past. With a heavy heart, Alara sought out Lysander, and together they delved into the annals of forgotten lore, seeking the lineage foretold in the journal. As they unraveled the threads of history, a chilling truth emerged: a descendant of the original vampire hunters, who had first banished darkness from Raven's Hollow, still walked among the villagers. Unaware of their ancestral legacy, the quest for the prophesied bloodline became a race against time. For the forces that sought to plunge Raven's Hollow back into the abyss were gathering strength. The villagers, oblivious to the impending danger, continued their lives, unknowingly teetering on the precipice of another supernatural clash. As Alara and Lysander delved deeper into the village's history, they discovered the identity of the unsuspecting heir, a young woman named Serafina, whose bloodline bore the ancient mark of the vampire hunters. Unbeknownst to Serafina, her destiny was intricately entwined with the survival of Raven's Hollow. The stage was set for a new chapter in the village's dark history. As shadows gathered on the horizon, the echoes of the past whispered of an impending struggle that would once again test the resilience of Raven's Hollow. The villagers, blissfully unaware of the gathering storm, lived in the fragile peace that followed the defeat of the vampires, oblivious to the fact that the true battle for their home had only just begun.